Well, the White House is calling this a publicity stunt. Joining me right now is Texas Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick. Lieutenant Governor, great to see you. Thanks very much. What do you make of the White House calling all of this a publicity stunt?
Well, first of all, I'm a little tired of Jen Psaki, who really comes off as a smart aleck in her answers to reporters about very serious subjects all around the world and here in America. And so their whole response to this is either that it's not a crisis, it's not a problem, and basically that, we don't have any power, we don't have an authority. Why does the governor, why does myself, why does our legislature have a right to speak up? Well, I'll tell you why. Because we take an oath of office to protect the lives of our citizens, to protect their welfare, to honor our Constitution and the United States Constitution, something this president is not doing. This is a show, Maria, about numbers very often, and here are some numbers for you. For the last 20 years or so, we've been apprehending roughly 450,000 people a year on the border from San Diego to Brownsville. About two-thirds of those are in Texas because we have about 1,200 of the 1,900-mile border. And that we think we get one out of every three. So that means over 20 years, we've added millions and millions of illegal immigrants to this country. But right now, in the first term, Maria, of Biden, if this continues, we will have about 30 million people come here illegally because we apprehended about 2.5 million last year. If we get one out of three, that's 7.5 million. Multiply that by 4 years, and it's getting even larger numbers. That means, Maria, in his first term, more people will come here illegally than live in the state of Texas. We have 29 million people. They're importing illegally more people than we have in the entire state of Texas to take over this country.
That is just extraordinary, Lieutenant. And, one of the issues here is not just the people, but there's drugs coming in, illicit narcotics like fentanyl, which is killing our people. There are people we don't know who they are and what their intentions are. Marsha Blackburn from Tennessee told me that at least 34 people were encountered who were on the terrorist watch list. But then there's just the managing of all of these people. So what kind of an impact does that have on Texas and the country, given those 30 million illegals? I mean, what do you think that means? Give us the practical answer in terms of the impact.
Well, yes, and the White House will never answer this question, because here is the base question. When all these people come here illegally, what happens to them? They're just letting them go around the country. What happens to them? Because you can't get a job if you don't have a Social Security number. Yeah, some will find some work, getting paid under the table, but no reputable company is going to hire them. What do they do then if they have no money and no job for health care? Of course, we provide free education under the Constitution to everyone. We don't ask about your citizenship when you show up at the schoolhouse door. But, Maria, the cost of education is dramatic, and most of these children that come here are 2 and 3 years behind in the education system. So we spend all of this money. We don't have enough bilingual teachers. They're there a few years. They drop out of school. So this is a catastrophe for our country, every city, every county, and it's a catastrophe for these people. Do you know how many children and women are being sex trafficked that come across the border? The criminals, the terrorists, the drugs, the fentanyl that's becoming the leading killer of young people in America. This president does not give a damn about the lives of Americans, about law enforcement who have to take them on, who are the criminals and join the gangs. They don't care about these children who are crossing the border. This president, and I'm going to say it clearly, has no heart for anyone involved in this border crisis. He doesn't care about our citizens. He doesn't care about those who are being smuggled across the border. And, Maria, I will tell you, we're facing a constitutional crisis. What the governor did this week, I support totally. By the way, we started inspecting trucks yesterday crossing the border, or later, at the end of this week after his announcement, and the trucks were backed up miles and miles and miles back to Mexico. We're going to take on this federal government because it is a constitutional crisis. Our founders did a magnificent job writing the Constitution. They never anticipated, Maria, that there would ever be a president who would let his own country be invaded or any state being invaded. And we have a right to protect our citizens, and this is a constitutional crisis.
So do you think it will be like 18,000 people a day once Title 42 goes away then?
Yes. Yeah. Because for the folks watching and don't know, Title 42, and look, when Donald Trump finished his term, we had the border under control, the best it's ever been. And so if you applied for asylum, you had to be in your closest country. And now they're able to come here once he repeals that. And so, again, if we have 18,000 people a day, you can do the math very quickly. And if we catch 1 out of 3 that come in, you can see why my numbers of 30 million over 4 years may be fewer than actually come here illegally. It may be larger than that. And why are they doing it? This is not an accident. You know, the president still hasn't been to the border. Kamala Harris still hasn't been to the border. She went to El Paso. That's a whole different story. In the Rio Grande is where it's happening. And Maria, their plan is very clear. They don't mind if people get killed along this journey. They don't mind if children get dumped over a fence, or we found 8 children this week that were across the border by themselves. We don't know how they got here. They don't care about that because their goal is to what happens, going back to what do these people do when they get here if they can't work? Well, the next move will be by the Biden administration. They all need a green card so they can work. Then the next move is citizenship. And then the next move is voting. Their goal is in the next decade or two to have all of these people registered to vote so that the Democrats can run this country on the backs of people who are coming here. And I get why people want to better their lives, those who are coming here for their family. I get it. But we have to take care of Texans and Americans first. But these people will come here. They're not many are not educated. They surely don't know our values, our principles. They don't know our Constitution. And Joe Biden welcomed them in. Who do you think they're going to vote for? Their family? Well, this is the guy. Let us get to America. And so they're looking at adding potentially 30 million votes in the next 10 to 20 years so that we're a one-party country. This is a leftist, Marxist, long-term move, and they have I don't want to say a stooge. I don't want to insult the president, although we see by his actions and his words he often acts like a stooge. But you know what I'm saying. I don't want to insult him, but they're using this man for their leftist, Marxist agenda to take over this country. And America better realize this is not hyperbole. This is what's happening because you can't explain it otherwise. No reasonable human being in the White House would allow this to happen on the border.
Well, it's absolutely extraordinary. And I know that the drug cartels are making $100 million a week. So that's who's getting enriched by this. Lieutenant Governor, it's great to see you. Thanks very much for laying it all out. We so appreciate it. Okay. We'll talk soon. Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick joining us. Thank you, sir.